What's up, fight fans? Welcome to the UFC 222 post-fight show. My name is Flying Brian J. Thank you so very much for joining me. As always, you guys are going to be my co-host, and my first question to you is, what post-fight rating, 1 to 5, would you give this card? Ordinarily, I would start by saying what pre-fight rating we gave the card, but tonight I fudged up, and man, I'm terrible at converting Eastern time to Central time, and this morning when I woke up, I just looked at, like, what time did the fight start tonight? I'm like, 6:30. Okay, so then I have to do the pre-fight show at 5:30, and then, no, like, it's 6:30 Eastern, I'm in Central time, so I should have done the pre-fight show at 4:30. So I fudged up there. So I have nothing to compare your pre-fight ratings to, but my pre-fight rating would have been a 2. I didn't care about much on the card. There wasn't much to care about. And then in my post-fight rating, I'm gonna give it a 2, because even though in the main event of the evening, Chris Cyborg Justino defeated Yana Kunitskaya via TKO at 3:25 of the very first round, there were a lot of decisions. Like, not many of the decisions were exciting. And then the main event ended exactly how everybody thought it would. Cyborg was like a minus 1,600 favorite. And yeah, so there's that. If you want, you can listen to this post-fight show on the MMA Mania podcast feed. It's on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, anywhere you can find podcasts. You can find the MMA Mania podcast feed. Rob Amon says a 3 out of 5. Hamza Aman says a 2 out of 5. And yeah, I'm sticking right here with the 2 out of 5. Rob Amon also says that he is here with the guillotine, which means this dude, who is one of my co-hosts frequently, likes to cut fighters who lose fights. Whether they're on a 1-fight losing streak, a 2-fight losing streak, whatever, they need to retire. Rob Amon likes to cut them. So look forward to that as we dive into this show. One thing I like to do is I like to go over the results on the MMA Mania #FightNerds UFC Pick'em League. So let's do that right now. In first place for UFC 222 was Vikram. He got 8 out of 12 right with 2,385 points. Second place was Bahu J, 8 out of 12. He had 2,255 points. Third place, HL MMA, 8 out of 12, 2,210. Fourth place, Jack Mooney, 8 out of 12, excuse me, 2,185. And in fifth place, Franker, 8 out of 12. And I like to say how I did. I got 5 out of 11 right. That's not good. That's under half. I would have got the first one of the night, so I would have had exactly half. But I missed it again. I mistimed when this fight card was starting. So there's that. I also like to keep track of, if you were to have bet on every single underdog on every single fight this year, how you would have turned out. So I got to do one calculation quick. If you would have bet on every underdog tonight, you would have ended up minus 5.8 units, which isn't bad at all, really. And which would bring us to minus 6.4, or minus 0.64 on the year. So not terrible. We're less than $1 lost on the year thus far, so that's not bad at all. Yes, Genak Genesis, we are pretty close to the subscriber goal. Also tonight, I got to the Instagram follow goal of 1,000. But let's get into this action. As I go down this card, I'm going to say, the name of the fighters. I want you to say, like, what your reactions were and all of that jazz. We also need to get some WTFs of the card, and I don't have too many. I wasn't paying attention that much. I did live commentary during the main card portion of this fight card, so I wasn't paying attention to, like, the extracurricular stuff to go ahead and be able to give you a what the fuck of the evening. So, of course, in the main event of the evening, Chris Cyborg defeated Yana Kunitskaya, and Hamza Aman says that Cyborg landed 16 strikes and Kunitskaya landed 2, and all 16 of those were significant as fuck. Right away, the fight came out. Kunitskaya moved forward. Cyborg landed an overhand right that seemed to hurt Kunitskaya. Kunitskaya like as she dove for like she get hit by the overhand right, she goes to dive for the takedown. Cyborg like it's a shovel hook. It has like an upward trajectory, kind of like has an ellipsis type of trajectory. It's coming from the side, so it's not quite a hook. It's not quite an uppercut, but it's over here a little bit. She hit Kuniskaya with that on Kuniskaya's way to the ground. Kuniskaya was able to get that ankle of Cyborg and then get top position, got her to the ground, was looking to take the back a little bit of Cyborg. Unable to do so. Cyborg's just so strong. She just stood right back up, wrist control, switch position, got her up against the fence, then backed away. The finishing sequence happened. Kuniskaya went for an outside low kick. Cyborg grabbed the back of her knee, and Cyborg threw the overhand right. Boom, dropped Kuniskaya, sent her to the ground, and just fucking sent her face through the canvas, beat her head right through that canvas. And then Cyborg in the post-fight interview said that she wants Amanda Nunes next. She doesn't like Brazil on Brazil crime, but she will let it slide this time. She will do some Brazil on Brazil crime because Nunes called out Cyborg. And I think that's the fight to make next. Rob Avens says that Cyborg versus the winner of Nunes versus Pennington. It has to be that. It has to be the bantamweight champion next. And if not, then I would like to see Cyborg fight Megan Anderson. I'm really, one reason why I'm giving this post-fight rating a 2 out of 5 is because I'm tired of seeing Cyborg squash cans. Like, this was Yana Kuniskaya's UFC fucking debut. No one had ever heard of her. She's a 135-pounder. She comes into the UFC on her debut, moving up 10 pounds against, like, the most ferocious and the most feared woman in mixed martial arts. And, like, the result was, like, felt predetermined. Everyone thought it was going to happen. It happened. And there's that. Let's move into the co-main event of the evening. First, Hamza says Cyborg versus Nunes is okay, but they should get a real featherweight in there. Yeah, I guess. Thanks for reminding me. Cyborg says that, like, the real 145ers are in Bellator, and she needs to go there to be able to face real competition in her weight class. I think that's partially a negotiation tactic to get more money, so that the UFC will keep her around. They used her basically squashing a can as to save this fucking main event. So they don't really have any reservations about actually putting strong competition in there with Cyborg. So who really cares? And then Cyborg probably asked for more money to fight Nunes, and they didn't give it to her. So, whatever. Yeah. So co-main event of the evening: Brian T. City Ortega versus Frankie the Answer Edgar. Holy fucking shit. This is a fight where I got to take a drink before we talk about it because holy shit, man. Wow. Cheers, y'all. 1 second. It's a tasty beer, and it was a tasty finish. Brian Ortega finished Frankie Edgar at 4:44 of round number 1. Edgar was outlanding Ortega. They put up a stat at one point. Ortega was outlanding, excuse me, I got this wrong during my commentary as well. Edgar was outlanding Ortega like 27-6 or something like that when they last showed the stats. And let me bring the stats up even so we can get a really good idea. It's tough to know how fight rhythm. Let's see fight rhythm. Anywho, so Frankie Edgar was putting volume on Ortega, and as Hamza says, it was the main event in everybody's eyes, and it really, really was, in absolutely everybody's eyes. I think they should have just put it in the main event spot, said it was a 5-rounder, and then gone from there, because the winner was set to face Max Holloway next anyway. We already said that Ortega got that win, but what Frankie Edgar was doing was he was coming in with combinations. He'd go, low, low, high. He'd feint one, feint a jab, come with a right, doing a lot of things like that, mixing up his striking combinations, using his mobility, using his speed advantage. And Ortega was doing some decent things. He threw a lot of right high kicks that Edgar would block and then keep moving forward. They exchanged low kicks and whatever. But it seemed like, when the finish came, it seemed like Ortega had figured out what Edgar was doing. Like I said, in the finishing sequence, let's just get into that. Frankie Edgar came in. He pumped a jab. He didn't mean to land it. And then a lot of times people will pump that jab and then come with the right, and then they will mean to land the right. Well, Edgar, he faked the jab. He faked the right, and he was going to come with like a shovel hook. And as he came with that shovel hook, which again that's just what I'm calling it, Ortega timed an overhand elbow on the opposite side. Bam, and fucking smashed Frankie Edgar's face. And Frankie got wobbled. And in the post-fight, Brian Ortega said that he didn't know if Edgar was really that wobbly or if he was faking it, like so that Edgar would, or that Edgar was faking it so that Ortega would pursue. Maybe Frankie could go for a takedown or whatever. But then he threw a right high kick, and it, like Frankie got hurt by that. And he's like, oh, this dude is actually kind of hurt. Frankie tried to clinch after that with Ortega to maybe buy some time to get his bearings back. And when he did that, Ortega put his left hand on Frankie's trap on his shoulder, and then threw an uppercut that came fucking from way back here. Boom! It really seemed to lift Edgar off of his feet a little bit, sent him to his back. He wasn't out cold, but his hands, you should be blocking the follow-up ground and pound strikes with your hands close to your face. His hands were just like where they were when he was falling. Brian Ortega came with one straight down right hand and then a hammer fist. And it was the referee was Jason Herzog, stepped in, called the thing over. Let's get to our Andrew Whitelaw says Ortega looks so chilled. What a statement. Yeah, that fight was a 5 out of 5. We came in, my pre-fight rating for that fight was 5 out of 5. Leaving the fight, 5 out of 5. Fucking awesome. But let's get to my WTF of the card. I don't have any weird ballness. We could give it to the judges, but we could really give it to the commissions of the judges almost every single post-fight show that we do, right? So let's just spare them for that. And a lot of times I'm a Debbie Downer. I'm a curmudgeon. But tonight I want to have a positive WTF of the card, and that is going to go to Brian Ortega. And that is, when Joe Rogan came to do the post-fight interview, he's like, Brian, you fucking knocked out Frankie Edgar. As Andrew Whitelaw says, it was the best uppercut since Zingano on Alistair Overeem. That shit was lit as fuck, my dude. How do you feel? And Brian Ortega's like, first of all, I want to say that, thank God, without him I couldn't be here, blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, I want to make the world a better place. I want to help kids. I want to help people get out of the slums and make themselves a better person, because if you didn't know, Brian Ortega was in a gang scenario coming up, and then his coaches took him out of that and then made him who he is today with this. He channeled that gang frustration and that fear from being in the gang into mixed martial arts. But anyway, he started the Brian Ortega Foundation, which is a charity to help. I don't know. I need to look it up. I do not know what exactly the Brian Ortega Foundation is, but I'm assuming it's to help underprivileged children, get ahead in the world and keep themselves off the streets, because people that have stories like Brian Ortega, I'm not trying to say it's cliche, but they oftentimes, when they can rise up out of the ashes, not the ashes, but rise out of the slums or these bad predicaments and things, they come up and then they want to help people do the same thing that they did. They want to help these underprivileged kids living in bad areas rise above their circumstances and become a better person. And that's my what the fuck moment of the night. What the fuck? How much better could Brian Ortega have been tonight? Amazing finish, fantastic on the mic, helping the world becoming a better place. Hamza Aman says the what the fuck moment of the night was the Hernandez finish of Dariush. We're going to use that what the fuck to move into talking about that fight. It was the second to last fight on the prelims lightweight bout between Beneil Dariush, who at the time was the number 12 ranked lightweight contender in the world. Alexander the Great Hernandez made his UFC debut. I believe it was on short notice. And what the fuck, as Hamza says, he put Beneil Dariush down in the very first round in under 1 minute. It was just 42 seconds into that fight. I need to see exactly how that went down. I don't have the greatest memory. I need to look this up for 1 second. Excuse me. Hernandez came out, And one of our what the fucks of the moment could be, you know, that Hernandez like faked a touch of hands and then went straight with a kick to Benyel, but Hernandez was like way faster than Benny D tonight, and it was a left hand, a left straight that fucking slept Benyel Dariush. It put him down. It put the Benyel Dariush's eyes rolled in the back of his head. And then he followed up with some ground and pound, and Jason Herzog stopped that fight. But what the fuck? An unknown fighter on short notice against Benyel Dariush slept the motherfucker. Apologize for cursing, but like, yeah, what the fuck? Good call on that, Hamza. The next commenter says, Matthew Caldwell says the what the fuck moment was Sean O'Malley's post-fight interview. So that will lead us into talking. We're going to talk about the fight. Then we'll talk about the what the fuck moment, and then we'll use that to segue into things. So Sean O'Malley defeated Andre Sukumtat via unanimous decision, 29-27, 29-27, 29-28. I gave a 10-8 first round for Sean O'Malley because he was using he was making great use of stance switches this entire fight. And early on, especially, it was getting the better of Sukumtat. I can't remember if it was a right straight or a left straight. I believe it was a right straight out of the orthodox stance that hurt Sukumtat early in the first round. He also hurt Sukumtat's lead leg with inside and outside low kicks. Sukumtat couldn't do much about it. And I also have another WTF that pertains to this card I just thought of, so I'll try to remind myself. O'Malley using stance switches, using changing of timing, using like just touch you, long strikes. Like this strike isn't meant to kill you, but I want to use it to touch you. And just did phenomenal work on Sukumtat. I believe it was the second round. Sukumtat took O'Malley down. I believe it was. Let me look at the stats. Yeah, it was the second round. Sukumtat took O'Malley down, and O'Malley worked for a triangle choke off of his back, worked for an armbar attempt off of his back, and he was credited with 3 submission attempts off of his back. O'Malley showing that he is a well-rounded mixed martial artist. And he just pieced Sukumtat up for the first, like, 10 minutes. And then where my what-the-fuck moment coming in is, like Andrew Whitelaw says, is Andre Sukumtat's complete lack of fight IQ. In the third round, O'Malley went for a right high kick that Sukumtat was able to get his guard up and block, and it hurt the foot of O'Malley. I believe it was the foot, and O'Malley reacted shortly thereafter after he brought his foot down that his leg was hurt. Then, a little bit after that, Sukumtat kicked that leg, and O'Malley could no longer fucking stand on it. And he was standing on just his left leg only with his right, like, way back there, just bobbing on one foot. And Sukumtat, instead of deciding to just slug it out on the feet, he decided to take the fight to the ground. What the fuck, Andre? Like, if that guy can't stand and you can, you win by TKO, my dude. Or keep the fight standing, keep kicking that fucking leg. I'm cursing a lot tonight, I apologize. And then you win the fight via TKO from his leg is injured. Like, the dude basically lost the fight by himself by high kicking you and you blocking it. I mean, good on you for blocking it, but what the fuck, Andre? Anyway, so then O'Malley lost the third round because Sukumtat, O'Malley was on one leg and Sukumtat took him down 3 times and he outlanded him 25-14 in strikes. And then Matthew Caldwell's what the fuck moment of the night comes in as O'Malley was doing his post-fight interview off of his back while they're putting a splint on his foot, on his leg. And then I believe they probably took him out on a stretcher. But Joe Rogan interviewed him while O'Malley was laying on his back. What the fuck? That was like one of the strangest, not strange in like in how the interview actually played out, but in the circumstances of the interview, that was like a what the fuck moment. And O'Malley said, "I fucking love you, Joe Rogan." And then Joe Rogan said, "I fucking love you too, buddy." That was kind of a what the fuck moment. What up, Synchronic 7? My dude is here. Who else got some? Yeah, Whitelaw said that was his what the fuck moment, was the fight IQ. Hamza Aman. Andre should have stood up with O'Malley because O'Malley couldn't stand. Rob Amon. Lombard KO was inadvertent and should be changed to a no contest. It won't be. Sorry, dude. O'Malley was super entertaining and varied. Big future. That was the most entertaining fight of the night, in my opinion. If we're going to give out fight of the night awards, it goes to O'Malley versus Sukumtat. But we'll get to those, our post-fight bonuses toward the end of the show. Sean O'Malley should fight Benito Lopez next. Cool. Do it. Fuck it. The guy's the king of self-sabotage. Surely his corner let him know. I don't know, man. O'Malley landing a spinning elbow on one leg. What the fuck? That was pretty dope. Best decision reading in UFC history? Yeah, that was weird. You know, O'Malley's laying on his back and he's just got both hands up, and Sukumtat's standing there like he thinks he might have won the fight. My dude, you didn't even close to win that contest, so sit the fuck down, I guess. So that's it for the WTFs of the card. We can move down. 1 second though, my guys. I left my bottle opener on the beer fridge, so I had to get that. We can't conduct the rest of this post-fight show without this bottle opener, can we? I don't think we can. Anyway, so before Sean O'Malley versus Andre Sukumtat, we had Andre Pitbull Arlovsky decisioning 29-28, 29-28, 30-27 over Stefan the Skyscraper Struve. Andre Arlovsky used a lot of feints, a lot of shoulder feints. He was always feinting with, like, you know, one leg, arm, whatever, doing a lot of feints. It was confusing Struve a little bit. Struve would, like, try to time one big shot, and they were coming so incredibly slowly. Many a times, Stefan Struve tried to throw a switch knee to the body of Arlovsky, but it was so fucking slow, Arlovsky could just, like, move away from it. Just move away from it. Matthew Caldwell says the fight wasn't that exciting, but what was interesting is coming into this fight, Andre Arlovsky had only attempted a third of a takedown per fight. And he landed 4 of 9 tonight in this fight against Stefan Struve, and he had a total of 4 minutes and 25 seconds of control time. And I thought coming into the fight that it might be dangerous for Arlovsky to take Struve down, because Struve's got a pretty good guard. He's he's got long legs. He could throw up triangle attempts and shit, but Struve had nothing for him off of his back. You know, impressive performance from Andre Arlovsky. He was at one time on, I believe, a 5-fight losing streak. Yeah, he was on a 5-fight losing streak, and now he's won 2 in a row, both via decision. This guy that has most of his victories, I believe, via knockout, 17 of them, and his last 2 victories are coming via decision because of improved fight IQ. Recently, I think Andre Arlovsky has moved from Jackson Winklejohn. I believe he was with Jackson Winklejohn, and now he's with American Top Team with Mike Brown and the likes. So I was impressed with Andre's fight IQ. I was not impressed with the fight. It wasn't overly exciting. Yeah, anywho, I just had somebody talking kind of some smack to me on Twitter. Hamza Aman lets us know that Arlovsky landed 46 significant strikes to Struve's 34. Matthew Caldwell, I can't believe that Edgar got knocked out, though. I'm so glad the shadow boxer finally went down. I know. We'll talk about the rest of this card, but I like what Matthew's getting at here. It's not like I'm a Frankie Edgar hater, but I've never been a fan of Frankie Edgar. I don't know if he's shadow boxer, but he does a lot of feinting, a lot of movement for not a lot of happening, and I don't know. He just doesn't have this, or at least we don't know if he has a crazy, exciting, entertaining personality. I've never grown to love Frankie Edgar, and I was glad that this guy, this Yoel Romero type of figure in the featherweight division, got that victory. Anywho. Later on, Synchronic, sleep tight, my dude. Synchronic's leaving. He's got to go to sleep, he said. First fight of the main card, Ketlin Vieira defeated Kat Zingano via split decision, 28-29, 29-28, 29-28. The first round was super tight. I decided to give it to Ketlin Vieira because she had a late first-round takedown. The strikes were tight. Kat Zingano was doing a pretty good job on Vieira with her overhand right. But yeah, Vieira got that late first-round takedown. Rob Amon, go back to the co-main event. Rob Amon thinks that Frankie Edgar should fight Ricardo Lamas next. I like it. That's fine. And Hamza Aman says Frankie Edgar has had too many chances at the title. I agree with that as well. Rob Amon says Zingano should be cut. She's on a 3-fight losing streak. One of them was to Rousey. The next one was to Juliana Pena. Now this one to Ketlin Vieira. I don't think she's going to get cut, but, you know, she's not going to challenge for a belt anytime soon. She's 36 years old. She's at the end of her career, you know, years-wise. She took 18 months off before this fight. And Ketlin Vieira is 26. She's on the rise. I think she's a future title challenger at women's bantamweight. Ketlin Vieira seemed to gas late in this fight, and then Kat Zingano turned the volume up. So why I agree with the split decision, because I said the first round was tight. I could see why he gave it to Kat Zingano, and also Kat Zingano won the third round. Second round was clearly Ketlin Vieira's, but overall the fight, you know, wasn't just crazy exciting. What's next for Ketlin Vieira, though? I said that she should be in line, or she should get like moved toward title shot contention. What's next for her? She's currently the number 5 women's bantamweight in the world. She was ahead of Kat Zingano already. Juliana Pena just had a baby. Holly Holm is the number 1 contender at women's bantamweight right now. I think that Holly Holm should fight Ketlin Vieira. That's what I want. Holm versus Vieira. Tell me if you guys agree. We can come back to it. But yeah, I really like the idea of Vieira versus Holm, because I know I'm being redundant, but Vieira, she's got an arm triangle choke victory over Sarah McMahon. Now she beat Kat Zingano, and she's unfucking defeated, 26 years old. Similar to Brian Ortega in terms of, you know, young, undefeated. We got to move her toward a title fight. Rob Amon says that he thinks Vieira versus Renau. Marion Renau. Yeah, I mean, I suppose either that or I'm down with Renau versus Vieira. The couple of the comment, Hamza Aman wants to know my thoughts on Mackenzie Dern's UFC debut. Matthew Caldwell says Dern is thick as fuck, and that's his thought. I don't want to talk too much about this because I don't want to get regulated, or I don't want people to know me as this sexist dude, but I am a heterosexual male, and Mackenzie Dern did bounce a lot in places that it's fun to watch bounce. I guess that's all I will say about that. In terms of how that fight played out, that's the next fight we need to talk about. Moving down in the card, Mackenzie Dern defeated Ashley Yoder via split decision. Well, Mackenzie Dern's striking looked not atrocious, but very unrefined. Needs some work. But even though she was unable to get Ashley Yoder down until the third round with many tries, Mackenzie Dern was winning on the feet and was winning on my scorecard going into the third round. Well, this tie going into the third. But anyway, so her striking was poor. She can work on that. She's a young girl. She's obviously has this enormous, she's 24 years old. She has this enormous Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu background. You know, she's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. She's a ADCC submission wrestling world champion a couple of times. Jiu-Jitsu world champion. And if she works on her takedowns and works on her striking, she could be something. My thought overall on the fight was that it was kind of entertaining because it had some ebbs, it had some flows. Ashley Yoder clearly won one of the rounds. I don't want to say definitively which one it was. I can't remember. But yeah, it had some ebbs, it had some flows. I don't want to rush Ketlin. Man, I just messed the name up twice. I don't want to rush Mackenzie Dern up the ranks. I think in her next fight she should get another debutante and enough time to work on these skills. Get her some confidence. Get her working on those takedowns. Get her working on the striking, and she could be a future star. But let's slow the roll on her being, you know, the next Ronda Rousey. Perhaps that is true, but she's going to need some time to refine those skills. And if we groom her properly, if the UFC grooms her similar to like they were grooming Michael Venom Page, where Michael Venom Page has a really exciting fight style, but they were feeding him cans a lot of the time. Not cans, but not high-level competitors. If we feed Mackenzie Dern some low-level people, we keep her confidence up, she could be somebody who could be a draw in the future. We could someday be talking about Mackenzie Dern as, like fight fans that she might be Ronda Rousey, where if she's not on the card, casual fight fans think the card is shitbox and things like that. So overall, Durand did not impress me with her striking, but she impressed me with like her tenaciousness and her able to fight through some adversity. You know, Ashley Yoder was defending those takedowns, and she eventually got the takedown and worked for a rear naked choke. What's up, Ralph Vargas? You silly goof. This isn't going to be the longest post-fight show that we've ever done. Part of that is I've been talking for 3.5 hours straight. Yep, 3.5 hours straight, and the card overall wasn't that exciting. So, Hamzaman, Derns striking was effective, but she had not really good technique. It was effective striking. Good point. And I didn't say it, but she outlanded Ashley Yoder. Yoder put some decent strikes on Durand. She even dropped Durand in the second round, I believe. I believe it was the second round. Yoder dropped Durand with a right hand. Was it a right hand? Anywho. Yeah, her striking needs some work, but she is confident with it, and she recovers quickly. She's got that jiu-jitsu in her back pocket. I look forward to her refining her skill set, and then I look forward to watching her next fight. Let's move down. We already talked about Alexander Hernandez versus Beneil Dariush briefly. John Dodson versus Pedro Munoz. I honestly, I was getting ready to do the pay-per-view stream, and I skipped that a bit. 1 second, guys. So I didn't really watch John Dodson versus Pedro Munoz, but my general sense was that Dodson was busier, I guess. Munoz was hitting hard, and Dodson was fading late, but Dodson was busier, basically. Dodson won via split decision, 28-29, 30-27, 29-28. That's all over the fucking place. Who the fuck knows? Before that, CB Holloway versus Hector Lombard. Again, I wasn't paying too close attention, but at the end of the first round, Holloway went for a low kick. Hector countered it with a 1-2 piece combination that knocked CB Holloway out, but the 1-2 was after the round was over. The referee had said stop twice, and the result was CB Holloway won via disqualification due to illegal punches from Hector Lombard. Karen Bryant said that she was texting Hector Lombard, and he said that his team was going to protest or appeal the result to a no contest. They're probably not going to win it, but best of luck, Hector, on your try. Tons of splits. Absolute ton of splits. Hamzaman says even though John Dodson won, he did not look good. John Dodson, you know, he's been fighting at these lower weight classes. He's now had 29 fights, and he's 33 years old. He's going to be slowing down soon. And, well, Rob Amon has been on, like, what's next for these fighters a lot. So, Rob, what's next for John the Magician Dodson? As I look up the rankings, bantamweight, John Dodson is 8th. Brian Caraway is above him, but Brian Caraway lost tonight to Cody Stamann. Pedro Munoz was 10, so Dodson probably doesn't move anywhere. I think Stamann probably jumps in here. And how about John Dodson versus Cody Stamann next? Same fight card, same time frame to turn around. Stamann needs to keep working his way up. John Dodson versus Cody Stamann, I like it. I'm going with that. And if not, you know, Dodson's already fought Marlon Moraes. Yeah, I don't know. I like the sound of that. What do you guys think? Alexander Hernandez versus Rustam Tiger Khabilov, says Rob Amon. Sure, let's do it. I didn't have time to... a lot of times I like to look up the rankings on Tapology and stuff to prepare for this show, but like I said, I did... I talked during the entire main card portion on this channel, so anyway. Send out a quick text. Zach Otto knocked out Mike Pyle. TKO punches. First round. Otto said he was coming out and he was going to go for the kill. Mike Pyle has been losing his durability. He's slower with his defense. This was Mike Pyle's last fight. He was very upset that he got knocked out. But Zach Otto, yeah, he came out. He said he was going to look for the finish, and he really, really did it. It was a left hand that sent Oh, it was a right over the top that hurt Pyle, sent him to the ground, and then Otto followed up with some ground and pound. The whole time, Otto had the power, and Pyle, you know, trying to stay alive, basically. Oh, the left hand, so it was the right hand over the top, kind of like, bam, that shook Pyle's head, and then Otto went for a left after that, then went right past Pyle's head as Pyle fell to the ground, followed up with some ground and pound, called the fight over. Matthew Caldwell thinks that Brian Ortega is going to beat Max Holloway. You know, and I don't want to be a hater. I don't want to be a fanboy either, but I like Brian Ortega. I like his story. I like that he's a finisher. I like his weird way of finishing. Like, the fight's happening, and it's over. You know, Max Holloway, when he gets finishes, it's with volume. Like, you can see it coming. It comes, and like, oh, here comes the finish, here comes the finish, here comes the finish, and there's the finish. With Brian Ortega, you're just like, fight's happening, and then fucking there's a finish! And I like that more. So I hope that Ortega does defeat Max Holloway. Let's run through some results. Cody Stamann defeated Brian Caraway. Caraway had a big first round. Cody Stamann had he won the second round, but it wasn't as big as Caraway's first round. And then third round, I thought Caraway deserved the victory. At the end of the third round, Caraway started hitting Cody Stamann with big leather. He was throwing his inhibitions to the wind, and he finished the fight on top looking for a guillotine. And I scored round 1 and round 3 for Caraway, and just the middle round for Stamann. So, not a robbery. The split decision's fine, but I think that Caraway should have got that victory. And the first fight of the night wasn't fun at all. Jordan Johnson pushed Adam Milstead against the cage and just kind of held him there. The referee, Something Smith, separated them many times, but Jordan Johnson just kept holding Milstead against the fence. It was effective, and Joe Rogan was kind of upset with the referee pulling him apart, but I don't know. The fight sucked. I liked that the ref was doing that to make the fight more exciting. Cody landed 95 to 59 significant strikes in Cody Stamann versus Brian Caraway, says Hamza. Thanks for the stats. I guess just watching it live, I thought that Brian Caraway should have won. Also, you know, Caraway's had a rough time. His coach killed himself. His girlfriend left him and got pregnant by somebody else. And he's had a rough go of it. So, yeah, I was kind of cheering for Brian Caraway. I wanted him to get the victory, but it was all for naught. So, guys, as we get into talking about our performance bonuses fight of the night, I want you guys to tell me what your post-fight bonuses would be. Tonight, I'm going to give 4 performance bonuses and no fight of the night. So while I'm getting, I think so anyway. So while I'm getting into that, you tell me yours. Performance bonus has to go to Brian Ortega. That's a given, right? Fucking shit. Actually, I'm gonna give 2 performance bonuses and a fight of the night. I decided. Ortega gets a performance bonus. Alexander Hernandez gets a performance bonus, and fight of the night goes to Sean O'Malley versus Andre Sukumtat. I always give out an extra one because I'm not actually giving anybody money at all. So my extra bonus this week is going to go to Zach Otto for knocking out Mike Pyle. I guess. Not a lot of Hamza Aman says performances to Ortega and Hernandez. Caldwell agrees with that. I don't know, not a lot of potential performance bonuses to give out. Let's check UFC's Twitter to see who got the real performance bonuses, and then we're going to get out of here, and let's all go watch the post-fight press conference. I mean, I could stay here and chat with you guys, and we could chat about the post-fight press conference if you want. But anyway, performance bonuses. This is exactly what we thought would happen. There's not a lot of options tonight. Some nights there are options. Cyborg, Hamza Aman wants to know if Cyborg Justino should get a post-fight bonus. And the reason why I'm not giving her one is because it was a foregone conclusion. Like, we thought she was going to do that, and she did that. And it was her opponent was not worthy. It's more surprising that Hernandez, came in as a big underdog, short notice, UFC debut against like a known contender, knocking out. Brian Ortega, underdog again, finishing somebody who's never been finished. Matthew Caldwell says, not as a minus 1,600 favorite and not as somebody who's getting $500,000 just to show up and fight. Yeah, all of that. And then not facing a worthy opponent, Cyborg. No, she doesn't get a post-fight bonus from me. But fight of the night was Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Andre Sukumtaj. So that's exactly what we did. What? Yeah, I mean, you guys really have no other option. There's no other options. Unless you want to give one to Cyborg, and that's fine because that's your opinion. But there really are no other options to give bonuses. Anyway. Yeah, anyway. So that's it. That's it for the show, guys. I'm gonna watch the post-fight press conference, drink some beer. I'm willing to talk to you guys in direct message on Facebook or Twitter if you want to follow me or like me on either place. That'd be cool as fuck. I'd like that. Follow MMA Mania on Instagram. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys next week, which we'll be talking about. Is it next week? I won't see you next week. You're right. Yeah, I get the week off. Fabricio Vaicavalo-Verdum versus Alexander Volkov is the main event of UFC Fight Night 127, happening March 17th in London, England at the O2 Arena. And it's all on Fight Pass if you are in North America. And I'm thinking that the fight card is at a weird fucking time. The main card starts at 5 p.m. Eastern. So we're going to be out of this main card. The prelims start at 12:45 my time. Wow, that's awesome. Verdum Volkov, Manuel versus Blachowicz rematch. Duquesnoy versus Terrion Ware. Leon Rocky Edwards versus Peter Sabata. John Phillips versus Charles Byrd. Danny Roberts versus Oliver Enkamp. And a whole bunch of other, you know. Actually, the first fight of the night is one of my most look forward to. That's weird. Rustam Tiger Khabilov versus Raging Cajun Johnson. Anyway, that's it for this entire show, guys. Thumbs up on the video, and I'll see you in 2 weeks for UFC Fight Night 127. Have a nice evening, guys. If you're going to drink some beers, don't drive. And I appreciate you for being here. Namaste. I got to get better at those endings, right? I draw them out a little too long, but I want to make sure that you guys know that I appreciate you, got a lot of love for you, and all that jazz. And I got to make sure that if you're going to drink, you don't drive, because that's just idiotic. There's Uber, people. Take an Uber. Toodaloo. Peace out. Thank you. Later, Ralph.